Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. In a time when we all are dealing with hate, fear, uncertainty, and self-doubt, reflecting on contributions made by people who came to this country in one form or another over the years can serve as a learning tool and motivate us to fight for the change we want. All materials used that are copyright material is being used under the Fair Use Act for educational purposes. As an immigrant from the Caribbean, I chose to speak about Constance Baker Motley. Constance Baker Motley, born September 14th, 1921 in New Haven, Connecticut, is the daughter of Rachel Huggins and McCullough Alva Baker, both immigrants from the Caribbean island, Nevis. Before coming to the United States, Rachel, Constance's mother, worked as a seamstress and a teacher, while McCullough, her father, worked as a cobbler. After they immigrated to America, her mother served as a domestic worker, and her father worked as a chef for different Yale University student societies, including the secret society Skull and Bones. Motley describes her parents' education as being equivalent to the 10th grade in the States. Her mother, Rachel Baker, served as a community activist. She founded the New Haven NAAACP. Constance B. Motley's mother was a teacher in Nevis and worked here as a domestic worker. That is what we do as immigrants. We leave our country with all our education, however. To make a living and earn US dollars, we take positions, sometimes that is below our qualification level, so we can do an honest work to provide. Most of us, majority of us, don't leave our home country to come here and commit crimes. Constance Baker Motley is the product of immigrant parents. That would often means she ate at home, where there is often a hot meal being cooked, reminiscence of back home, thought to be mannerly, respectful of her elders, and to aim for greatness. This celebrated Black Caribbean American graduated from New York University in 1943 and attended Columbia Law School. She began her career at the Legal Defense Fund LDF, which is a Black women-led national civil rights law organization that to this day it continues to serve as a trailblazer in the ongoing fight to protect civil rights and advance racial justice and equality. Constance B. Motley was the second female and first Black female attorney at LDF. She rose to prominence as the chief courtroom strategist of the civil rights movement. In addition to successfully litigating cases that ended segregation in Memphis restaurants and at whites-only lunch counters in Birmingham, Alabama, Motley defended Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s right to march in Albany, Georgia. In 1965, Motley was elected president of the borough of Manhattan to fill a one-year vacancy. She was the first woman to hold the office. As president, she authored a revitalization plan for Harlem and East Harlem, successfully fighting for $700,000 to improve. She was the first Caribbean American woman appointed to the federal judiciary, serving as a United States District Judge of the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York, nominated by President Johnson. She was the first Black woman to argue at the Supreme Court. In fact, she argued 10 landmark civil rights cases, winning 9. She worked for over 20 years at LDF. Motley claimed her greatest professional achievement was the reinstatement of 1,100 Black children in Birmingham who had been expelled for taking part in street demonstrations in the spring of 1963. Motley faced the danger of her work head-on. From driving through Ku Klux Klan territory, she was a law clerk to Thurgood Marshall, aiding him in the case Brown v. Board of Education. Actually, she wrote the original complaint in Brown v. Board of Education. For those of you who do not know, in 1954, the Supreme Court delivered a ruling that would change the landscape of education in the United States forever. Brown v. Board of Education challenged the legal doctrine of separate but equal, which had been upheld by the 1896 Plessy v. Ferguson decision, permitting racial segregation in public spaces, including schools. Motley was the presiding judge on the case of Blank v. Sullivan and Cromwell, a landmark case for women lawyers. In Blank, the plaintiffs accused a law firm of sex discrimination. In Belknap v. Leary, another highly publicized case, Motley admonished the New York City police for not providing Vietnam War protesters with adequate protection against violence in the streets. New York State Senate. Motley handed down a breakthrough decision for women in sports reporting in 1978 when she ruled that a female reporter must be allowed into a Major League Baseball locker room. Constance B. Motley is but one child of immigrant parents to do great things in America. We salute you, Constance B. Motley. Join me for another trailblazing child of immigrant parentage. Please subscribe and be proud of who you are.